Good morning, students. So, welcome to ARK Reflections IAS newspaper analysis of the day. So, what are the important news of today? Starts with the main during the G7 summit. So, our Prime Minister Modi met with US President Trump, and what he emphasized, the Modi emphasized that the safety of the Indian seafarers are very important. So, this is very important. Why? Because in the name of like the Iranian ships violating the US naval blockade, US Navy is attacking these ships, and in these ships there are some Indian marine navy, so merchant navy. In the case of in the world, so most of the merchant navy numbers are from mostly from India. India is one of the top producer of the merchant navy personnel to the world shipping companies. So these people are getting killed. So as we see the incident, there are three personals like Indian citizens who are the merchant navy personnel are got killed. So that's what the Modi emphasized, that their security and their protection is the one of the very important important for discussing that with the Trump. Okay. So PM comments that Trump, his efforts to restore peace in West Asia, stresses the importance for keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. Trump praises Modi. Okay, this is important, but this is very important. Iran-US framework deal outlines the nuclear pledge, financial relief. So this is the what is there in this framework, the truce agreement, the temporary memorandum, the peace memorandum. So what is this 60 days temporary peace memorandum? So let's explore this systematically or point wise. So Iran US peace memorandum. So if these come into force, so what Iran gets, what Iran gets, and what US will get in this from this memorandum, or we'll discuss like what Iran has to do and what US have to do. First, we'll discuss about Iran. Iran, the main thing they have to do, and they have the 60% enriched uranium, right? 60% enriched uranium, uranium 235, and with the help of with the help of so International Atomic Energy Agency, they have to dilute those high concentration of uranium. They have to dilute this high concentration uranium. Okay, this is one of the important thing Iran have to do, and Iran should not Iran should not enrich the nuclear fuel any further in the future. Should not enrich nuclear fuel. So more than the capacity of the 3%. JCPOA, we know that Joint Comprehensive Partnership Agreement. In that agreement, so Iran was permitted for 3% of the enrichment, because which helps for the civil nuclear energy production. Here also they should only commit to that 3% and should not enrich more, and especially near to the 60%. 60% is almost like a near reaching the weapons grade. So if it is 90%, it's you can make the nuclear weapons. Okay. So this is one commitment they have to ensure, and this is the second commitment they have to ensure, and third commitment they have to ensure is free and free and open access of Strait of Hormuz. Free and open access of Strait of Hormuz. So this is very important commitment. This is the very important commitment they have to ensure, because this Strait of Hormuz, which almost holds 20% supply of the world fuel. So very important, right? They have to ensure that free and open, like the pre-war era, like pre-war, especially the pre-war times, how the Strait of Hormuz is open for everyone in the world, like it has a free open access of the Strait of Hormuz. They should ensure this pre-war times. Okay, so this is the main agenda what the Iran has to fulfill. And let's go to the US, and what US has to fulfill, we'll see. US should not interfere, should not interfere in the Iran internal matters. Iran internal matters. And next, so US lift should lift the naval blockade. naval blockade. Iran should lift, US should lift the naval blockade because all these ports of Iran, so US has kept the naval blockade. So all these, so they are not allowing any Iran ship to transship the crude oil or the petroleum from the Iranian ports to any other country, even you take the China. So the US should systematically lift the naval blockade. And next important thing, US should make a plan for $300 billion, $300 billion, almost 30,000 crores for rebuilding or the reconstruction of Iranian infrastructure. So Iranian infrastructure which is damaged during this war. So US have to propose a plan for almost $300 billion to reconstruct the Iranian infrastructure which is dismantled or destroyed during this war. Okay, next important thing, what US has to fulfill was, so almost $24 billion, $24 billion of Iran. So $24 billion of the Iranian money, which was stuck in the different banks around the world. You take the Japan, you take the Korea or China, like where especially the Korea, Japan, especially these countries who are very good with the US. Previously, they bought the petroleum and the gas from the Iran, and while they are paying during that time, so US has imposed the blockade, the sanctions. So $24 billion are stuck in foreign banks, which is Iran's money. So among these 24 billion, at least 50%, which means $12 billion should immediately release. They should immediately release. Okay, so these are the important fulfillments. What Iran has to do, Iran has to do, and what US has to do. This is what these negotiations are, how it is happening. And tomorrow they are going to sign the deal, right? Tomorrow, June 19th, in the Sweden. So officially they will sign. As of the news, as per the news, electronically, like digitally, they signed already, but officially they will sign tomorrow in the Switzerland. Okay, this is what they have to do. And what is the benefits for India? This is very important, right? So with this calm down situation, how it benefits India? Simply you can take, okay, so how it will benefits? So shipment cost or transshipment cost will reduce. Transshipment cost will reduce. Even the insurances for shipping also will reduce. Okay, and next, one more very important thing which will reduce was the crude oil prices. The crude oil prices, the prices of crude, it's already decreased. Before war, it is around $70 per barrel. $70 per barrel. And here and now it was reduced almost the highest peak price it was increased was around 117 or nearly $120. It went until nearly $120. And at one time Iran has said that our main agenda is to bring this barrel price to almost $200. If the barrel price hits the $200, means all the global economy is in the turmoil or in the deep shocks. But now, as the peace deal is about to happening, so these nearly from 117 it almost reached to $70 per, so sorry, it almost reached, now it is $88 per barrel. It is pre-war era. The $70 per barrel is the pre-war era. So these are the benefits which the insurance and transshipment cost will reduce, the prices of the crude will increase, our fuel, like our fuel security or the fuel security will increase. Fuel security will increase. And also, so, and the availability of the fuel security will increase. Definitely it will increase. And also the availability and the security for the ships, the security aspect also will increase. So these are the benefit which India gets if this deal comes into the materials. Our insurance and transshipment costs will reduce, so we can export more and also we can import more. These are the transport is very important key factors for the price, right? For deciding the price. And next important thing, the prices of the crude oil will fall, and the security of these ships and all, like three merchant navy personnel has died, and even during the Kuwait airport attack, so one Indian traveler has died. So these kind of people, like citizens, the world citizens dying in this war will reduce. And the fuel security, our fuel security, because we don't have, like we have seen that our food prices are spiked, right? Almost 30 rupees to 40 rupees per plate. It went almost, now it was 60 rupees, 50 rupees, right? So that is all because of this short supply, or like the hype of the war. So these all will come into little bit, almost it will take time. It will take time. Like after signing the deal tomorrow, it will not immediately, it will impact our economy. At least it will take almost like nearly 1 month. The ship which starts from the Strait of Hormuz to reach India, it will take at least minimum 15 days, right? It will take minimum 15 days. Minimum 15 days. So that is one of the important factor. And even the refineries, so in these Gulf states, what happened during the war, they don't have the enough storage facilities, because they will continuously, every day they will produce the crude oil, but the crude which is stored in the storage facilities are not moving. So over the time, what they happen, so they have the shortage of these storage facilities, so they are not able to store the oil which is producing, so they have to stop producing the oil from the wells. If one stop producing the oil from the wells, it is little bit hard to revive those oil from the well. So it will take some time. So at least almost it will take like 15 days to 1 month. Nearly, even after this deal materializes, the effects or the fruits of this deal to come into effect on the global citizens, which almost it will take nearly 1 month. Okay, this is the what it will happen. So we'll see the next article. This is very important article. So we have to know, so what is, who are doing what. Okay, next important article we'll discuss. ED quizzes, yeah, editorials, the health data must drive action, and the Rubio's remarks and the limits of the strategic empathy. Here also the article is about this three personnel has died, right? Indian merchant navy personnel are died. So when they discussed, the external affairs minister, our Jaishankar, our external minister Jaishankar, when he discussed with his counterpart, Rubio, US Foreign Secretary, what he said was, so it is very important to comply with the US naval blockade. Whenever these ships, the Iran ships, they are not complying with the US naval blockade, so this is the implications, or this is the repercussions of violating those naval blockade. So in these some Iranian ships, Indian merchant navy persons, Indian merchant navies are the people who work mostly on the merchant ships, not the official Indian Navy ships. Okay, so those people are getting affected. So this is what the reply we got. And the next important article, which I felt little interesting, was this article. So why AP's incentive for having more children is misplaced. So we'll discuss that. AP's Andhra Pradesh incentive problem for more children. For more children. So what happened? Recently, according to the present reports, our TFR, so total India's replacement rate was nearly 1.9. So what is the replacement rate? The ideal replacement rate, the ideal replacement rate, which the World Health Organization, which suggests that the ideal replacement rate is 2.1. 2.1, which means that in a woman in the childbearing age, that is 15 to 49, a woman in the ideal childbearing age, the number of children she produces or she gives birth should be 2.1. Why not 2? Because the 0.1 is added because due to some babies they don't survive in the reproductive time, like the infant mortality rate and all. So that's why the 0.1 factor is added, which means that a couple, a male and female, should produce 2 persons. So then which means that so that the aging will not happen. If the replacement level is around 2.1, the aging of the society will not happen. If the replacement level is less than 2.1, what happens? Which means that births will decrease and deaths will not decrease, so will not increase, and also the aging population will increase. The aging population will increase. If the births are less and the aging population means the newborns are less, but the present people will get aged, right? So if the present people will get aged, so what happens? The dependency population will increase. The dependency population will increase. We'll have a less, means comparatively less workforce. As of now, so India at present, the mean age of Indian population is 29. The mean age of Indian population is 29. We have around the average population of India is 29 years. Very good age. Very good age. So when it comes to the AP, what it has happened, especially if we see India, some states like the Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, these states, they are doing very good with the TFR. They are doing very good with the TFR. But when it comes to southern states like AP, TG, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, especially Tamil Nadu is too bad situation. And because their replacement rate was around 1.4, 1.4, much less than the national average. And also when you take the Delhi, it is only 1.2 replacement rate. So very, very dangerous situation. So that what the AP government has done, the AP government has announced the incentives. The AP government has announced the incentives nearly 30,000. 30,000 for third child. For third child. And rupees 40,000. 4 for 4. Fourth child. Fourth child. So 30,000, 3 for 3, third child, 4 for 4, fourth child, 40,000 for fourth child. So what is the problem here? So what the author here argues is that, so this small amount of incentive, is it sufficient? He is telling it is very small to means maintain a children, extra children, to maintain that extra children, it will be too small of the amount, because usually to raise a child, it includes heavy costs in the lakhs of rupees. For example, his child care, his health care, his education, his transportation, and other costs. So these all will be in the lakhs. This all will be in the lakhs over the time. And giving a small amount, 30,000 or the 40,000 per child, will it really affect, or the really will convert into the more number of population, or the improving the AP's TFR? No, right? AP's, it can't improve. What the other is telling, it will not bear any real effect. So why? Because these are the problem. Child care, health care, education, transport, other costs will be in the lakhs of rupees, just a 30 40,000 is not small. But what the measures the government have to do, what the measures the government have to do? The government have to make sure the availability of what? A good, affordable healthcare. Affordable healthcare. And what is the other important factor? They have to reduce the costs for the education. They have to give the support for the education support. Transportation support. Transportation support. And next important thing, they have to give the flexible work hours. Work hours for parents. So flexible work hours for parents. Okay, and they should give some kind of a cheaper transportation and skill development. Over the time, they have to give more focus on the skill development. They have to be more focused on skill development, but for both, even for the parents. When the parents are got more skill, so they can earn more money, that more money will be used to maintain the children. And also over the time, you have to give the proper skills to the children during the education, so that it will directly convert into the proper demographic dividend. Okay. Okay, these are the actual things government have to do, not just giving the 20,000, 30,000 or the 40,000 rupees will not yield any effect, or will not inspire, or will not motivate the parents to have third and fourth child. Okay, so these are the main things. Okay, next article we'll discuss. So parasites, Supreme Court denies the bail to a man accused of cyber fraud, calls for the sterner legislation. Because what happened, some cyber fraudsters, they went into the Supreme Court for the bail petition. And what the Supreme Court said, if these people got released, so what they have done, the cyber fraudster, they have looted the money from different people from the different states. They covered almost like India, almost all the states from India. So what Supreme Court said, if these people got released, so it is doing injustice to society. To make the society safe, it's better to keep them in a jail. So that is what the Supreme Court responded, and with a harsh word like a parasites. Harsh, they are like a parasites. And next, tomato onion prices rise, farmers get low returns. Very important. This article is very important. In potato growing states such as UP, Bihar, farmers are in distress as they get as little as 2 to 3 per kg for potatoes, but consumers are paying through their nose, says the farmer leader. So let's explore this issue. Let's explore this issue. So what this article is saying, the issues with the issue is with the price rise. The issue is with the price rise with top crops. Top crops. What are these top crops? Tomato, onion, onion, and potato. Just like our core sectors are there, right? Our core sector, there are 8 core sectors. So these 8 core sectors like the cement, petroleum, or steel, iron. So there are we have 8 core sectors. Whenever there is an impact on its growth, so if it is a positive impact, then our India's economic growth will be high. When there is a negative impact, our economical growth will be less. So this is about the our 8 core sectors of our economy. So similarly, in the agriculture, like in the food crops also, these top crops like the tomato, onion, and potato. So whenever the price rise is there, which means it is causing the food inflation. But what is the problem here? Here there is some kind of a consumer and farmer paradox. Consumer and farmer paradox. So what is the real problem here? So the article argues that there is two scenarios. There is two scenarios here. So one scenario, the price of these top crops are increased. The price of the top crops, the price rise is increased. Now tomato is almost nearly 52 rupees. That is, they are telling in the 52 rupees. Onion 32 rupees, and potato is also around like 40 around the rupees. Some, yeah, which is very high, which is very high. But what happens in the, which means that it clearly indicates that farmers also should get more money. If the crops, if the vegetables are, the price rise will be very high. If the cost of these top crops are high, which means that it we have to infer that the farmer's share or the farmer's income should also increase. But here, what it is happening, the farmer's income is not increasing. Instead of, the farmer's income is decreasing, especially these top crops producing farmers. They are getting only 2 to 3 rupees per kg. For example, tomato, or you take the potato. So usually not more than 10 to 15 rupees also. So 2 to 3 rupees is the minimum they are getting, or very small amount. So instead, in on the market, it is 52 rupees, 32 rupees, and the 42 rupees. But what the farmers are getting, the actual producers of these crops, they are getting 3 rupees, 4 rupees, and 5 rupees. So that is the scenario they are discussing here. Here, as we see that, so in potato growing states such as UP and Bihar, farmers are in the distress. They get as little as 2 or 3 rupees per kg for potatoes, but consumers are paying through their nose, says the farmer leader. So what is the problem here actually? Why this scenario is there? So why this kind of paradox, the consumer farmer paradox is there? So the real problem here was, you see, because there are number of stages. So this is the farmer. This is the farmer, and to from the farmer, and this is our consumer. Consumer. Okay. So this is the consumer. So between the farmer and the consumer, there are multiple layers. There are multiple layers, like the village tradesman, village trade, like the commission agent or the middleman's, the commission agent of the middleman. So the middleman commission agent. And next, wholesale, wholesale sellers, wholesale vegetable sellers, and the retail vegetable sellers, retail vegetable sellers, transportation, and all here what it is happening. So here, plus margin, plus margin, and plus margin, plus margin. So like this, the margins are getting more. So when these margins are adding to it, so the more number of middleman is there, the more number of middleman increases, what happens? Automatically the income of the farmer decreases and the prices for the consumer increases. So whenever these middlemans are there, like the village traders, commission agent, wholesale sellers, retail agents, they all add their margins, right? In additional to the margin, it is a transport cost also. So all these, it is making, what it is making, the margins, they are adding their margins. When the margins are more and the middleman is more, so it directly infers that, we can directly infer, so automatically the farmer's income will be less, and also the consumers prices also will be high. So what the government has to do, and the government has to decrease this middleman. And the real problem with these crops, and the real problem with these crops is, these crops are perishable in nature. Perishable in nature means they will spoil quickly. They are not like the packaged foods, right? The packaged dal or something, they can't stay for longer time. They are perishable in nature. Next, this middleman issue. Next, this middleman issue. And very important, we have less storage facilities. Less storage facility. Okay, less storage facility. And the fourth, the main important, the transport. Transport or the supply chain problem. The supply chains are too long. The supply chains are not very well implemented. And most important problem, as of now, we have the El Nino season is going on, right? This seasonal supply shocks. The seasonal supply shocks. Supply shocks. This is due to the heat waves. This is due to heat waves, cyclones, floods, or multiple natural reasons, or the heavy rains, floods, or multiple natural reasons. These are all making the price of the food crop increases. Like we also know that the average food waste India will do is on a person, the per capita food wastage is 55 kgs of 1.46 billion population. And one of the main reasons is we have the less storage facilities. We have the less storage facilities. To deal with this, so our government has started one program called Operation Greens. Operation Greens. The central government, they have started Operation Greens. So the main agenda of this Operation Greens is to, what is their main agenda? The main agenda was to decrease the decrease the prices for consumers. Decrease the prices for consumers. Also increases the storage facilities like the cold chains and all by arranging the cold chains and all. Okay, so increase the cold chains, decreasing the price for the consumers, and decreasing the transport cost. Decreasing the transport cost, increasing the store chain, and reducing the waste. Reducing the waste. So these are the main agenda for the Operation Greens, which the government of India has started to make sure these top crops are very important. Whenever the price rise in the top crops are increasing, the food inflation is also increasing, because the onion, every day we need onion. Tomato, almost every time we need tomato, and also the potato. So these are very important observations what we have to know. And the second important, so these are the important things. And also the main problem is with the recent recent Iran and US issue, the fertilizers prices also got little bit increased, and also present the El Nino situation. So the central government has advised the state governments to take the essential measures to prepare for this El Nino season, especially the low rainfall season. Even in the June, yesterday newspaper also we have seen that the adequate rainfall was not happened during the June. Okay. So next important article we'll discuss is about this. India meets 3% compressed biogas blending. Very, very important. India meets 3% India to meet 3% compressed biogas blending goal for 20 financial year 27. So we'll discuss by the financial year 27, because present. So the present financial year 27. So what the government has a target to meet the 3% of compressed biogas. Compressed biogas. So what is this compressed biogas? Why not? It's like, we have the 20% ethanol blend, right? 20%, 20% E20 petrol. You can say simply E20 petrol. Why we don't have the more? Why we have only 3%? Because just like the ethanol manufacturing, we don't have the large scale facilities to produce the biogas. They want to mix this biogas with the LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, like the house cooking gas or the liquefied natural gas. Liquefied natural gas. So mostly in the liquefied natural gas, they want to add this biogas. And what is the here? What you want to know? What is the difference between the biogas and compressed biogas? Compressed biogas. So let's see the differences between the both. Let's see the differences between the both. Simple differences. Here in the biogas, there is 50 to 60 or 70% of methane. So methane is the main, right? Whenever the methane concentration is high, which means it has a high calorific value. So whenever the CH4 is high, which means that high calorific value. And also CO2, carbon dioxide. It is also around 20%. And trace gases. There are some trace gases also there. So this biogas is produced from where? Food waste, or crop waste, cow dung, cow dung, and sewage waste. Sewage waste. These are all the places. So where this biogas will be produced. So what happened? It is the CH4. The main methane gas was around 50 to 70%, and 20% CO2. Actually, these 20% CO2 is not good. So 20% CO2 will decrease the calorific value of the of the main biogas. So what in the compressed gas, what they have done in the compressed gas, there is 90% of CH4. Here it is 50 to 70%, here it is 90%. And this CO2 is completely removed. There is no CO2. 90% CH4 is there. So this is the reason why it is more much efficient comparing to the biogas. And it is also compressed. Which means you can store easily. So that they want to add at least minimum. Now at the present, blending is around 2%. Meaning at present, right now it is 2%. They want to increase the 3% for next year. So financially, by financial year 2027, so it will be, the blending will be 3% blend with the liquefied natural gas, just like how the ethanol is blended with the petrol. Okay, so these are the important news articles for today, and tomorrow we'll meet with the latest articles of tomorrow. Thank you.